When am I supposed to press play?
30 seconds ago.
I was wondering if this pain would really ever end. But I've learned how to love. Yeah, I've learned how to love from you. And I'm sorry I just left without telling you the reason why. Truth is I don't know. Hurting you never felt right. But I learned how to love. Yeah, I learned how to love from you. And this heart won't beat another beat anymore. And these lungs won't breathe another breath if I don't or didn't. Oh, what didn't I do? Oh, what didn't do? Is I not good enough for you? And nothing blaming all our problems just on me. Was it cause you sensed all of my biggest insecurities? But I know the truth that I learned how to love from you. I don't know how many times I can say I'm sorry, but maybe I will live my life thinking that you hate me, and I really try my best. You deserve nothing less than love for free. Yeah, lonely nights I spent alone, sitting in my room, just saying how the days just pass. Always too soon, but I love. Yeah, I learned how to love from you. And this heart won't beat another beat anymore. And these lungs won't breathe another breath if I don't or didn't. Oh, what didn't I do? Oh, what didn't do? Is I not good enough for you? And nothing blaming all our problems just on me. Was it cause you sensed all of my biggest insecurities? But I know the truth that I learned how to love from you.
We have no Grace tonight.
It's just us.
Just us. She is doing a test. So what we are doing to do is we are going to equally be giving each other tests. So the entire flat is having a very similar experience tonight, but we get to do it on live stream with you all. Being a busy week, tell us about Jurassic IV.
Hasn't it just? So last weekend we had Jurassic IVs. We had 40 teams turn up. It was an awesome tournament. We had teams from right across, I suppose, what I'd call the Australs region.
Yeah.
But we also had, we had a judge. Oh, but actually, no, that's not even true, because we had teams from Canada. We had judges from Canada and South Africa. It was fantastic. I was exhausted at the end of it.
Yeah.
I actually didn't realize until yesterday that I was still exhausted from the weekend, but I'm feeling pretty good now. You've had...
Yeah, I had
all week.
Essays all week. In fact, a couple days ago, Joe walked into the kitchen to me kind of standing there gazing into the distance after I had 3 hours sleep in a rush. And I had Asia Queer Open on the weekend. And one of the amazing things that I didn't expect out of international tournaments this year is that I made friends at the tournament. You just chat to people in your debating room and you message them as the tournament goes on and you catch up with them. And yeah, it was a way better social experience than I was expecting. So lit. What other stuff? Interres was last night, so I judged that. O'Rourke unfortunately did not win as much as I tried to push it in their direction, but congratulations to the 2 Auckland DepSoc members who did end up winning. And Auckland Club Night was last night, so carrying on with our club night activities, and we have Australs trials very soon. So I think that's that's something to be looking forward to.
Something else to look forward to. Umber, the club president, was making comments about certain announcements.
There is, in fact, an announcement tonight. So as you know, we are also gearing up for Auckland Pre-Australs, otherwise known as Whippersnapper. It is going to be an exceptional tournament. And tonight, if you go over to the event page, you click interested, click going, we'll be making some pretty important announcements on that event page tonight that I think people will want to tune into.
I think it's going to be great because Australs is obviously going to be a little bit different this year, but I think it's still going to be a really high quality competitive tournament that people are going to enjoy. So it's great if people can get along to some of the pre-tournaments and get ready, get prepared.
And the other good thing is I think because Auckland is looking to host Australs next year, and because some of the announcements I think will prove a significant draw card for many of our fellow international debaters, it'll be a cool opportunity for New Zealand debaters to once again get that increased exposure to the debating world.
Can I just comment on this before we get into the podcast proper? So the format tonight, by the way, Daniel and I are just going to ask each other various questions, and that's going to be cool. But how good has it been for New Zealand debating to get some more international exposure as a result of running these online tournaments? I think it's been really good for us.
It's been sick. Someone from Australia posted when we made Whippersnapper being like the society that keeps giving back, which I think is great, and where Auckland and many campuses in New Zealand should be positioning themselves. And also really cool is that we've had quite a bit of international attention. So there was a little bit of a issue with the streaming at Asia Queer Open. So Auckland ended up standing up and running all of those streaming services, which obviously brought a lot of people to the Auckland page to check out Auckland. And because people have been really impressed with some of the online stuff that we're doing, the execs getting interviewed for the 8 Minute Debating magazine. So that's exciting as well. Yes, yeah.
That's fantastic.
So going to talk about online debating. And I think hopefully that we take some of the lessons that we learned from lockdown and carry it forward.
Yeah. No, I think it's great. I think the major lesson to take away is that even though we silo ourselves off in little societies and that sort of thing, we're actually one big debating community. We can do lots of things together.
I was going to say something, but it actually is a surprise for later. So you won't find out about it tonight. You probably won't find out about this semester, but Auckland is planning something that is really cool for semester 2, and something that I think could be the future of debating, if I say so myself. So Phil, you will obviously get a chance to do that, to both take part and learn about that incredible thing we're going to do.
Should we do this?
Yes, let's do this. Oh, equally, if you have any questions that you want for either Joe or I, flick us a message or...
We've actually already had one. From Umber at Daniel. Serious question, shoot, check, marry, Joe, Tom, Tim.
For context, Tim and Tom were my Canterbury Schools coaches. Tim... so that's my primary relationship to them. I'm also Tim's cousin, so that's my secondary relationship to Tim. And then obviously Joe is my flatmate. So who would I shoot, check, marry? So also for context, shoot, check, marry was a game that I was forced to play when I was a school child. It was huge in the South Island for some reason. Yeah. And I remember just being ruthlessly ripped apart at my first nationals and getting incredibly low self-esteem. So I don't think this is a fun game in many ways. Great game. But who would I shoot, check, marry? I'm going to semi-ignore that Tim and I are related. And Tim is a solid marry. We no hanky-panky, but I reckon Tim is a very solid marry.
I can see what's being lined up for me here. I mean, no, that's all right. That's all right. We can move on. Do
you think our flatting relationship would survive a boink? It certainly wouldn't survive.
I don't know, but some of Brian's flat relationship didn't survive a boink. So.
Yes. Make sure you break up with your partners before lockdown starts.
Okay, should we do the questions?
Okay, would you like to start?
Okay, very good. Where am I? My notes here. Favorite tournament in the last year?
So it depends what you want out of a tournament. I'd probably say in the last year, Bali Australs was my favorite tournament. I also really liked Sydney Mini, and I really liked Asia Queer Open. I think those were all just
great
solid tournaments, good friends. Nice experience. Okay, and you?
Oh, we're gonna Bali Australs was fantastic. Great location, great experience judging. It was just fun. It was awesome.
Okay, so my first question to you is going to ask you to cast your mind back into the midst of time.
Oh, good.
When you were a novice,
what
was something that Otago did that made you feel really welcome in your society?
On my very first club night, which was held at a bar called The Church, which so I don't know what it is now. I think New Edinburgh Folk Club, which is a kind of like weird hippie folk club now user. But at the time, it was owned by a Nepalese family, and they ran a Nepalese restaurant bar out of there. And that's where our first club night was when I was in first year many moons ago. Anyway, I rocked up, and I was lucky enough that I was in the schools team a couple of years prior, so I knew some of the people. But as soon as I got there, John, who is obviously an icon and our debating community, was like, oh, it's great to have you here and this sort of thing. And introduced me to a guy called Chris, and Chris and I are now very good friends. But I don't know, it was just those initial experiences with the club where the key figures in the club made me feel very welcome.
Yeah, it's both a social aspect and a debating aspect. Because I remember when I arrived at Auckland, I didn't know many Auckland debaters. Obviously, like all of my debating experiences have been in the South Island. And I was invited by Kayla and Aditya to help work on the stall. And that like just was amazing. And I just got to like stand with them and talk to them about things, and incredible experience.
That's
and
really cool.
it's really, we really underestimate how important those things are. And also not just for retention. Like even if I had gone off and never become a debater, that was an incredible thing that was given to me and made me feel instantly way more comfortable and settled in a city that I wasn't familiar with.
That's great. My next question, your favorite debating partner from your whole career?
For my whole career. My favorite debating partner for my whole career. This is a great question. There's lots of different ways you can slice and dice this. The one I probably took the most away from was debating with Kayla Grant.
Yeah.
Just, I debated with her at my first joint scroll and my third joint scroll when I was a baby and when I was a little bit older. And she has an incredible way of thinking and strategizing about debating. It's also just lovely and very cool.
We love Kayla.
We do love Kayla.
Yeah.
Kayla's great. I'm sad I missed her being CA of a New Zealand tournament because I was obviously away there. But that was very good.
Yes.
I also, especially in my younger career, I debated a huge amount with Ned.
Yeah.
Ned was just really fun to debate with.
Yeah.
And then also have loved debating with Zach. One of my favorite debates was a Horton Cup final where I was first year, Zach was third year, and Ned was on the other team, and it was about whether or not we should ban sex robots. And of course, the debate is supposed to be about like feminism and about like men's sexual relationships. We're like, no. These are, in the motion, absolutely realistic sex robots, which means they pass the Turing test. So the real reason why we should ban sex robots is that they're sentient and should not be oppressed.
That's
in this way.
interesting.
And then Hamish was like, that's a terrible point. And then the other panelists gave it to us. So he got rolled in that final, and that was excellent.
Your question?
Yeah. Who's your favorite person you've ever been on an AdgeCore with? What makes a good AdgeCore member?
Okay, what makes a good AdgeCore member is someone who like contributes to the discussion. Frankly, doesn't have bad motions. You need to have good motions on there. I think Tamara would be my favorite AdgeCore member. She just like does the hard yards, gets the work done, and like has good motion reckons. But also like, I don't know, some people who shall remain nameless like setting motions just because they're interested in the view, but then set these just horrendously unbalanced motions.
Yeah.
Because they just want to see their life views affirmed, which Tamara's pretty good at not doing. Also, she just has like quite interesting things that she's interested in the sense that she doesn't just like pigeonhole into like, there are the motions I like, and that's it. So yeah, I think she's great.
Because AdgeCoring is very much a balance between being creative and coming up with new topics and not being overly creative and pushing it a bit too far.
But yeah, Tamara, I think she was fantastic. I love that AdgeCore that it was on. It was excellent. It was great. My question is up. Rank New Zealand depth socks.
Oh no, this is gonna get mean.
You seem like you get spicy, so rank them.
They also changed so much during eras. I'll be entirely honest. My two debating homes, my obviously Auckland will be my number one choice. I love the University of Auckland. I love their depth sock. It's been incredible part of my life. My traditional like home away from home was definitely Otago. Like when I was in the Canterbury team, I was quite good friends with the kids in the Otago schools team, and then so every time I went to tournaments, I could see them again. I was invited to a lot of Otago events. Definitely my campus away from campus, so they'd be second. The other campuses are good. So
You've got to rank them. It's a simple task.
So I think Canterbury. I have very deep links with Canterbury. They've always been lovely to me.
Yeah, we got Auckland and Canterbury.
So Auckland, Otago, Canterbury.
Yeah.
Waikato have always been very nice to me. And I've got very nice friends at Vic, but as an institution, I've mainly enjoyed them when I'm winning things against them, and less enjoyed when I'm losing things to them.
Cheapest creepers.
This is just my personal connection.
That was cold.
Okay, no, but now you have to rank them.
No, we're asking each other questions. What's your question?
Rank the devil. What are the worst and best speeches you've ever given?
I don't know. Worst speeches.
I was privy to some of your younger speeches when myself and Jesse Medcoff beat
So annoying.
beat Joe's team twice at my first
I'll be
season.
straight up. I'm terrible at gender emotions because I am a straight white man, so I have no lived experiences, anything other than that. So I find it difficult to associate with people who have other lived experiences. So I just don't come across as authentic. And I also, a lot of those motions these days are like grounded in like pop culture. Like the worst sort of motion that could possibly turn up for me would be like a debate about RuPaul's Drag Race. It's like I have absolutely no connection to that because I don't watch reality TV.
And you don't have the first principles.
It's just nothing going on there for me. So it's just a big fucking.
Okay.
It's blind.
Best
darts.
speech you've ever given.
I don't know. I enjoy beating you in the final round of that joint scroll.
That was about Trident missiles. Yes.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
I remember that debate less fondly than you do.
I remember it very fondly. I thought we'd lost because I just had no faith in the panel.
Sorry, who was on the panel again?
I didn't have faith in the majority of the panel.
Okay, we can discuss afterwards.
Yeah.
Who the majority constitutes.
Yeah. And then I thought we'd lost, and we just went back to the hotel, and Jamie and I were just like, holy fuck. So I just started drinking, and I ate like a whole bag of chips, and then we went up to the bar and kept drinking, and then we broke. I was like,
Woo.
sublime.
And then you won the semi-final with the same division of the panel.
Yeah,
That's
well,
amazing.
there was an Auckland judge who couldn't judge at that tournament, but that's all right. Oh, it's my question again, isn't it? Debating hookups, yes, no.
Interesting question. So for me personally, a major impediment just to hookup culture in general is that I don't drink, and I feel uncomfortable hooking up with people who drink. Who not who drink in general, who are drunk, and then that tends to be the defining thing. I say go for them. Very fun, make you happy.
This is like a really, can I just say, and this is good, these are all good takes, but it's quite a shallow like view of debating hookups. Like there's a lot going on, right? Because like a lot of people in the international circuit have the thing about like sleeping up the tab or like or like pointing up, which I find like gross and weird and that kind of stuff. It seems to be a big thing on the
I think it's less. Then again, I think people just need to be cognizant of the fact that this is an activity that's incredibly like powerful in our psyches, and that there's definitely like power dynamics operating within the community that you just need to be super mindful of, and also, especially when you're older, you need to kind of like check your peers and make sure that they're behaving in a way that's appropriate, because there are some people who it goes to their head and then they don't really think about things. I personally, and this is maybe something that I think especially when people are very new to debating or new to DevSoc, should be very careful about engaging in anything with them.
Okay.
Be
Nice.
respectful.
Nice. Good.
Oh yeah. how can the University of Auckland Debating Society improve?
I'm gonna get like Xi Jinping off the feed. It's an Auckland feed in a second. One thing I find really weird about coming to Auckland, and I've only been here a few months, is
And pandemic, obviously.
yeah. But Auckland has really aggressive factionalism socially, and that there's lots of different kind of like cliques and groups,
Yeah.
and people are quite nice to each other within their cliques and groups, and are tolerant, I suppose, to a degree of the other factions and groups. But I think the existence of those factions and cliques puts a huge handbrake on your ability to develop as a club and have functional trials.
Yeah, no, I think that's very true about the trials. They tend to get a bit contentious and painful.
Yeah, and it's just stuff. Yeah, anyway, so I just think it puts a huge handbrake in club development in the sense that for some people who are in the right cliques and factions, they benefit obviously from being adjacent to other successful members of those cliques and factions, but the fact that those dividing lines exist, I think, puts a huge handbrake on the development, particularly, I must say, of, I wouldn't say younger speakers, because I don't think it impacts people in their first or second year so much, but definitely in that kind of 3 to 4 year, I think it's
just how to push.
I think it's a
forward.
big problem.
Yeah.
And at some point, like, there needs to be a détente, in my opinion.
Yeah. So one thing that I will say is that the good thing is that I don't think the factionism spills over to tournaments particularly. I'm always consistently impressed by how at tournaments I think Auckland really comes together. But yeah, definitely like AGMs can get a bit spicy. And we've tried to make quite a big effort to make sure that we aren't cliquey. So for example, we have Auckland practice page. We have trying to push out a lot more content that's broadly accessible. I remember the factionalism was really bad when I started. So even though there is some disagreement within the club and interpersonal dramas, there's still, I think, a bit of an improvement there, but just needs to be carried forward.
Sure.
And I think elders, to some degree, have a role. I think elders need to be really careful about letting their conflicts spill over. And
I completely agree.
It starts at that top level.
I completely agree. And I think that is a problem. And this is what I was saying earlier. It actually has downstream impacts on younger people. And I think older people in the club need to kind of take some responsibility for that because they're having an impact on the younger
Very
people.
fair. Yeah.
So that would be my take. I hope Zach hasn't closed the feed. My question, we both like basketball.
Yes.
Who's your favorite NBA team and why?
Oh, that's a great question. So I'd say the team I probably follow the most semi-regularly pre the shutdown. I really like the 76ers, and that's particularly because I really like Joel Embiid.
Yeah, Joel Embiid's great.
He's
I love Joel
great.
Embiid. I love Joel
Great
Embiid.
guy.
Yeah.
Also just has pizzazz. It's just basketball needs pizzazz.
He's great on the social media. He's great on the social media. But also, can I just say, I know this isn't, I'm sorry, probably to Zach number, I know this isn't debating, but how cool is it to have the resurgence of high-quality big men who can definitively operate in the paint and have post skills and rebound properly? I love it. So I just absolutely love it. I think we're starting to see it again a bit. Obviously, we had Houston going full-on small ball, and before everything shut down, seemed to legitimately be working for them. I actually kind of hate that. Small ball's cool, but we had 4 years running where Golden State were running
a huge total.
It was just ridiculous. It was just ridiculous. It actually got boring. I actually find run and gun, taking 73-point shots a game just boring.
Yeah.
I just hate it.
And then I'd say the second. So I personally just really like LeBron James. I think that's a relatively, actually no, maybe it is a controversial opinion.
No, LeBron's awesome.
I love LeBron.
He's my
awesome.
favorite basketball player.
The problem is I'm not wild about the Lakers. I think just I have an intuitive reaction against dynastic teams that I don't think live up to their former glory. That those cultures annoy me a little bit. And I think also a little bit of LeBron's shine went off when he failed to stand up to the Chinese government. So that I think was
bad.
That was bad. Yeah. Hopefully, when he's running for the presidency, he apologizes for it. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. He's still relatively young, right? He's not yet 40, is he?
Oh no, he's not 40. Is he 34 maybe? That's not super young. He's gonna fall off a cliff. He'll fucking tear his ACL and get all over it. I know it's
And
miserable.
then he'll
but
become senator for wherever.
he
Akron
won't become.
is.
He won't become a senator. He'll like sell Nike products in China. Like we all know how it
Good.
could be. You don't think it'd be like it is, but it would. Your question.
What's the worst ever feedback you've received?
I mean, the worst feedback is when people say, I mean, I don't really have much to improve your speech. It was actually really good. And then they give you a 76 on the New Zealand rate. And it's like, well, there's 4 fucking points missing, isn't there? So that's
Yeah.
the worst feedback, without a doubt.
So, to some degree, I accept that, but I also think one of the major problems is getting into those higher ranges. The path isn't obvious, especially when the judge isn't great. Like, it requires creativity to get up to those areas. It requires development. And so,
I agree
yeah,
with you.
but it just shows when an edge isn't quite able to take those next leaps. And be like,
But I
"This is
think,
what
but I think
envisioned is
I
good."
agree with you, but I think that is then indicative of giving bad feedback. It's like you're an adequate but not good judge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I have least favorite feedback? No, I think most feedback. Too much feedback is not good.
Yeah, I
brief
mean,
and
we'll
keep
talk
it
about that.
specific.
I would prefer a judge who just tell me one thing. Be like, work on that. But yeah, okay.
I also think feedback that is too situated in the speaker's own speech is sometimes unhelpful. So helping the speaker see how they can improve other speeches within the debate and like how to link into those other speeches rather than just here's like your style, or I didn't think you explained this point well. Like, explain the strategic side of things a little bit more in a positional specific setting. I think that sets aside quite good feedback.
Okay. Best debating party you've been to?
Korea Australs Break Night, which we're gonna have again
Oh
at
my
Korea
God.
World.
I can't believe it. So, Nick and some others, mostly Nick beforehand, was like, Joe, you need to find a way to get like Korea Australs Break Night into the conversation. So we can have a conversation about how fucking like Korea
It was
Australs is
amazing.
gonna be.
So just to set the scene, this was in my first year of debating. I was with Callum Lowe and Jess Powlett. We had a blind over tournament. We broke. It was great. So I think that adds to the sheen of the night. But it was an hour-long bus ride through this forest up this mountain, and then we got to like halfway up the mountain in this like beautiful Korean forest, and then suddenly there was like a water park, but like a cool, classy like wooden water park, and they poured bubble bath into the like main pool, and it like filled up, and then everyone was in the pool when they announced the break events, and there was a big slide. It was horrific health and safety, lots of people drinking around, lots of people really nice. I remember when Matt Bartlett broke, they like announced his name out of order, so like there was like some, oh my god, he didn't break. And then I have this vivid memory of Jesse Medcoff like dunking Matt, being like, you broke. And it was just like so exuberant and incredible.
Fucking cool. It was fucking cool. There was a great big slide. The slide was great. Yeah, like, you're right. That was 100% the best debating party ever. Okay, next question from you.
Next question from me. So are there any other fun debating parties?
I'm gonna learn. The parties last year at Otago Joint Scroll were really fucking good because I actually love a good flat party, and it was a bit cold. It was a bit dark outside because it was at Easter time, and just going between different flats and just getting fucked up. Like, it was so nice flying down from Wellington to Dunedin and then getting into town and then going to that first flat where people are drinking. I think it was Andre's flat. I can't quite remember. I was kind of near London Street in Dunedin, and just getting there and just there being 60 debaters in this random flat, and I was like, right, time to get a bit fucked up.
So the thing is, for me, all those parties blurred together. Probably not the best party, but one that I think was like very memorable for me is I turned 20 at Joint Scroll. Because my birthday's on August the 30th, and Joint Scroll's often around there, and we were in Canterbury, so I was able to be home with my family because of Canterbury Joint Scroll. And this was the Joint Scroll that you knocked us out of in the same time.
Yes, very good.
And someone played just a midnight before my birthday. Someone played "I'm Just a Teenage Dirtbag," and we all sang it. And then I stopped being a teenager. The next like couple minutes after that, and then everyone sang me happy birthday, and it was just like a really beautiful, cultivating memory.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Worst mistake you've seen by an edge core?
So at Greece Worlds when I was there, I don't know what they did. I just experienced the downstream consequences of what they did. They clearly just completely fucked up the tag. And then we weren't starting till like 1 p.m. each day when we were meant to be starting at like 9 a.m. or something.
Yikes.
So we weren't getting back to our hotel until like midnight each day. It was just a fucking disaster. It was just exhausting. And we were at like we were at an agricultural polytechnic near Thessaloniki. So it was like, I think it was called, that's right, farm school. But if Craig's watching, I hope Craig's watching, American farm school. But it was like an agricultural polytechnic in the middle of fucking nowhere. It was winter in Greece, and it was just grey and miserable and cold as fuck. And we're just like walking around, sitting in this fucking hall. And I'd have to ask Jamie if I could go get some coffee, and then I'd go get some coffee, and this like miserable, angry Greek man would be like, I can't believe you've come here to give me money for the services that I'm on offer. And it was just, but the reason why all of that malaise set in was because the edge could just push things so far behind time. So I remember one day for lunch, we had moussaka. Moussaka is delicious, right? It's like Greek lasagna, but it's eggplant, and it's amazing, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful, except of course we were so far behind time that all the lunch had arrived and then completely cooled down. So the moussaka was like congealed when they were eating it.
Not great.
So, I mean, running a tournament like 5 to 6 hours behind time, that's like, that's an all-timer.
So I'm not sure this is anyone's fault, but everyone got food poisoning at Korea Australs. I started throwing up 15 minutes after getting knocked out by Sydney 2 in the octo finals. And just like, thank God, because I like the next whole bit is just like an absolute blur. I think the classic edge core mistake or great fear is that you announce something wrong on break night, or you announce the wrong teams when you're giving out speaker prizes. And some of that happened quite recently. AQO, for example, accidentally announced the wrong top speakers because of a tabbing issue. Best speaker was correct, but everything else was a little bit iffy. And so use TabbyCat. I think TabbyCat is a brilliant software, and more people should use it. And then at Throppy in my first year, Asher Emanuel got a little bit tipsy during break night. And when he announced that we had broken, said congratulations to Matt, Ned, and David. And so I became like what? I'm not David. It was very painful.
Can I just, this isn't an edge core problem, it's an org-com problem.
Yes.
But
we love org-coms.
My friends have just reminded me of a terrible experience at Bali Australs, which is when the Yaka ran out. Like, Yaka night was so fucking good, and I was vibing so hard, and it was like having such a good fucking time. And then the Yaka ran out, and it was like, excuse me, what? Like, jazz music stops. And I was like, the worst fucking part of that tournament.
There were definitely issues at Cape Town Worlds with the edge core and org-com that are significant. One of the things I think they did do really well was Yaka night. So as a South African, I was invited to help prepare the Yaka. But as a non-drinking South African, I helped prepare the Laka, which is the non-alcoholic Yaka. And so we were on the cricket pitch, and then up near the pavilion were like 20 barrels where people were making the alcoholic Yaka. And then down at the bottom of the field were about 6 or 7 things of Laka. Because students were halal, so we had to keep them quite like strictly separated from the alcohol and non-alcohol. Yeah. And I remember just thinking about this, just being like, wow, these people are putting a huge amount of care and effort into a community, sharing a tradition. It was like a really cool experience.
Can I just appreciate how you like got invited in as part of the like cultural licensing program as a Southern
diaspora?
No competition here.
It's because I became quite good mates with some of the country org-com people when they came to like vet Euros. And obviously I was just another foreigner at Euros, so I hung out with all the South Africans, and then South Africans just get dragged into doing that.
No, but it's good. It's
great.
It's good. Is it my question? Your question?
Yeah, I just asked.
Best BYO spots in New Zealand debating.
Oh, great question. I am not a huge fan of Barilla Dumpling. So I'm going to come out swinging. Sorry,
this is a spicy take. Give me the systematic reasoning why Barilla Dumpling isn't that great.
Their dumplings aren't that good. Aesthetically, it's a bit grim. There's 2 Barilla dumplings, and people always end up going to the other one that shows up on Google Maps.
Not a great location.
No.
So I'll be honest, I quite like Barilla Dumpling.
Yeah.
And that I've only had positive experiences at Barilla Dumpling, including convincing Shaq he could have a little alcohol in the street the night or at Auckland AV one time. You're right, the dumplings aren't great, but they're all right. For me, I find the location odd. And that, like, okay, it's like, I guess it's fine, but it feels really weird when we're at university and then we all collectively ship ourselves out
And there's
to
so many good
Dominion Road.
places. Cheon Food Bar should host a lot
Like,
a bit small.
But exactly. And then we like inevitably always end up coming back into town. It's like, why do we do this great like
Migration.
40 days and 40 nights trek through the desert
Yeah.
to go to an okay dumpling bar?
Yeah.
I don't know, it's not
So, but if I'll give you a top 2. Obviously the Asian rip. Love the Asian.
Yeah.
I have so many good memories of just like events, like break nights there and things. Number 2 is the place we always go in. I don't remember the name. It's a place we always go in Palmerston North for the Throbbie break night when it's in Palmerston. That was where Asher Emanuel announced my name incorrectly, and I've just been back lots of times for various trophies. And also, how good was the Auckland IV BYO at, I think it's Sinta, Malaysian?
that actually
so good.
slapped.
And they
That
let us
actually
stay
slapped.
there until like 10 p.m.
Yeah,
just like,
that was
oh, you
really
can
good.
chill. We'll just clean up around you. And we were like, oh, we're so sorry. And they're like, no, we love having you here. We should definitely go back there again.
Yeah, I
for
have some
various
really good
events.
friends doing that. Can I make an additional shout out? I think that was a good spot. For I think it's Madam Kwong's.
Yeah,
in
Madam Kwong's in
Christchurch.
Christchurch.
It's the
So
big
big.
place. It's the big place. But it's so good for doing announcements and stuff because you can kind of announce stuff without feeling like
You're overpowering.
having an
space.
impact on other people and that kind of thing.
100%.
Odd comment, but actually, like the bathrooms are like real nice, real nice.
That's a very niche Christchurch
It's
debate.
like good.
Yeah.
And the food's real good. Last time I was there, I think it was at Southland IB when it was in Christchurch, and I had a real nice like hot Sichuan soup, and that was real good. Can I make, just while we're on this topic, at NZBP we always end up going to, I can't remember if it's Red Mount or Red Wall. I think it's Red Mount on the corner of, I think it must be Victoria Street and whatever that other one is. And so
I can't remember.
well, you'll remember. You must have been here many times because it turns into a karaoke bar.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly right,
So it
yeah.
turns into a karaoke bar, which, so a few things, right? On the karaoke bar, it's really good because NZBP tends to be in December or very, very late November, which means Christmas music has become acceptable. So the bangers start coming on, and you always get like for the Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You.
Yeah.
It's good, and people end up putting like Robbie Williams on, that sort of stuff. And it's like solid because it becomes a karaoke bar and it's really fun. Problem, the food's super expensive.
Mm.
The corkage is really high. And you don't get a lot of food for what you pay. But also, it's really crammed in because they just shove everyone on these big, long fucking tables with these little like stools and stuff. So you feel totally cramped in. So my proposal for next time we have NZBP, or
Go there afterwards.
or Victoria IV, or you know, would be we don't go there afterwards. Let's have a BYO somewhere, and then let's just go to a bar because
yeah.
bars are quite good because you can do karaoke and
We
shit.
need to drive that culture in Auckland a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I just think it'd be cool if like maybe go to a karaoke bar after a good BYO spot rather than paying like $30 for like a tiny bit of food.
So another shout out to a fallen institution. The old location for Dakota, I have so many in
I love
London.
Dakota.
So good. I have so many like wonderful memories of being there, especially with when the Mechanical Bull is out. Because I remember in my first or second year, probably at one of the random tournaments I held in Wellington those years, having this ferocious showdown on the bull between me and Lucy Kenner, and I was so proud of my effort. I'd gone like minutes longer than and then Lucy finishes the machine. Like the machine could not throw her off on the maximum setting for the full amount of time. It just like blew my mind. Powerful. Incredible. One thing I would say is that we should also have a conversation about what you referenced with announcements, because I don't know about other people, but I personally internally die when I see other patrons and us ruining their night with stuff like God Save the Queen, and I'm just like, oh guys, please can we just be nice patrons, and we just need to find places that we can book out.
Yeah, I agree.
Or Madame Kwong's where it's huge and there's so much noise and no one cares
See,
anymore.
that's why it used to be good when we go to the Asian, because we could basically pack out the Asian.
It feels like the
It's
two
also-
tables at the back.
Yeah, I know. But it's also the advantage of being in Dunedin, because
It's a student.
Well,
Yeah.
exactly, right? So it's like fine.
Like we booked out Cinta. I think that was one of the reasons.
That
I
was
so
really,
happy.
Sunday was fantastic. And we were clearly spending a lot of money and saying good shit. Yeah, we should try to book places out more often.
Yeah, neat. Okay,
Okay.
my question for you, I think.
Yes.
We're gonna do. Do we have any anonymous questions?
Like a few. I think I might have sent a couple through.
Cool.
So let's go through all of ours.
Okay. What is your least favorite international debating trend? What annoys you when you face it?
What the fuck is the delta? All it means is the difference, and you've decided to use like the
Exclusive
delta
language.
to like. But here's the funny thing, right? It's like it's an attempt to be exclusive that isn't even that exclusive, because everyone knows what like. Okay, maybe not everyone knows what it means, but the vast majority of people know what delta means. So like, just saying the delta just makes you seem like a pretentious fuckwit, frankly.
Yeah,
so if
the
everyone
delta.
could stop doing that, the delta. All you mean is the difference in the two lines. That's all
It's
you
the
mean.
same number of syllables. Delta difference. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
It's like, well, the difference between our two cases today, it's like the delta in the debate. It's like you're saying nothing. You're saying nothing of value, but attempting to sound intelligent. Please stop it. Go home. Never come to a debating tournament ever again.
Yeah. One thing that I don't like is when teams get too theoretical about proving why we value things. Like there's become a big movement where extensions are just like, they didn't justify their theoretical framework for this debate, so we're going to prove their premise, and then they dive into I lost some debates at AQO like this, and it frustrated me enormously. It's just like, I think one of the ways in which New Zealand approaches debating slightly different to other people is that a lot of people want like theoretical justifications for why we care about things, and New Zealand is just like, what does the average woman shopper in a Timaru pack and save think is important? People not dying. Excellent. She thinks it. Let's go.
Yeah, I agree. Which, can I say, is the most reasonable stakeholder in almost any debate, frankly.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I get to ask a question. Oh, good. See, all my questions are so much. Anyway, so you're going to a tournament.
Yeah.
And you have to take two speakers with you, right?
Yeah.
And they either have to be two speakers from Communist Caucus, or two speakers
From
from
Reactionary.
Christian Reactionary Caucus, or just Reactionary Caucus. Who do you pick, or which section do you pick, and which two speakers from Commie Caucus or Reactionary Caucus do you take?
Equalizing their skills? Because I think that the problem is this is a
No, it's
couple
just straight up
speakers.
what's available on the circuit is what's available to you.
But
But they've both got to be from the same caucus.
yeah, like obviously I think just my first choice is, and it's for me it becomes less about the caucus. I would like to go with my two flatmates, who are both from Reactionary Caucus and are both very good debaters.
Oh yeah, all right,
I'd love to
all right, all right.
Joint
All
scroll.
right.
When we go as a team to joint scroll, you will all be sorry for delaying it. Yeah, well, I think it's an interesting question is what happens if you have to take one from each, and then you have to try and find
Okay, let's take
the
that up.
middle ground.
Who would you take?
It was quite fun debating with Zach and Umber at Joint Scroll, and they had differing beliefs, and they were incredibly mature during
That's
the
what
entire
we
tournament.
call conflict.
No, there was no conflict. It
Okay.
was a smooth experience.
All right, that's a good answer. That's a good answer.
Yeah. Okay. Would you trade your Easter's win for one of your school teams winning nationals when you coach them?
No.
No. Fuck the kids.
Well, the kids did well. Like, we got them to a final. They loved it. It was the first final that Otago had been in like, it was like a decade or like 15 years or something.
Yeah.
I loved it. I think Bridget's probably watching it. Like, you did well.
Well
I
done,
don't know.
Bridget.
If you'd won, I don't think there would have been an appreciable difference.
And you killed POI, man.
Yeah. Shout out to Bridget for killing POI guy.
Actively.
No, I wouldn't change it. What about you?
Haven't won Easters and haven't coached a school
Oh,
team.
you've won a joint. Have you not coached the school team?
I was turned down. After it was
Okay.
sad.
Okay.
Um,
Coach Canterbury.
I could actually.
You should.
Maybe
You
I'll
should.
maybe I'll coach them next year. If they'll have me,
Okay. Oh, this
Not
actually
very much, yeah.
segues really well. This segues really well. So schools nationals has coaches.
Yeah.
If university teams had coaches,
It's an American thing. I don't like
and
it.
you were going to your last Worlds, who would you pick as your coach and assistant coach?
Oh, this is a brilliant question.
So you're going to pick a coach and an assistant coach.
So, there was a old debater who I really dislike, who was very creepy, and he used to come up to promising young debaters, especially, of any gender. And he used to always get really close to you and then have really awkward conversations. And one of the things he told me is like, Daniel, I was like you once, but I didn't have the killer edge, and I don't think you have the killer edge. He is not going to be my coach, but he was like, if you debate once with Jody O'Neill, you will be exceptional. I think I
So Jody?
Jody would probably be.
So Jody would be your coach.
Also because like I've had a lot of good coaches, and I've never been coached by Jody, and she'd also, shout out to Jody for doing exceptional things with the female debaters at Vic during their summer program. Whole bunch of debaters who were just like fine, like similar level to me when I was young, came away from that like summer experience, just like really excellent debaters. So obviously doing something really right there. So Jody, assistant coach. Probably Paul Smith. Paul was my coach when I was in the New Zealand development team, and so it helped me develop enormously. But I think he has an excellent calming presence, and made me think about doing IC, and was like, he probably doesn't remember this, but when I didn't get into the New Zealand team the following year, I went up to talk to him afterwards, and just that conversation with me will stick with me for a very long time because it was just wonderful, and yeah, really put me in the right place going forward. And I think he'd have a similar effect, and also he's just brilliant. So yeah, those two people. But there's so many people I'd want to coach me. Brindy, for example, like Brindy Kreft.
Yeah.
So she would be an excellent like
She'd
coach,
be great.
right?
She'd drill you hard as well.
Yeah, a very, very strong structured approach to getting better at debating. That's a brilliant question. Who would you take?
I actually don't know. Although, as you were saying, you're talking about having people who haven't coached you before.
Yeah.
I think who has not had any impact on my debating career, but I would like to. I think Udayan was the first person who came to mind. I think it would be incredible to have Udayan involved in my career. Also Jody. Jody and I don't know.
Kieran Bunn?
Yeah.
I don't know if he'd be a brilliant coach, but I want to be better friends with Kieran Bunn.
Like, I think just on that, I think it would be incredible to have Jody give me more feedback on my debating career and kind of be involved. But I don't really know how I would reach out and do that.
Yeah.
So.
So she judged me a lot at the joint scroll we won, and she was always the most skeptical of our points, which was actually quite good in driving us forward.
Well, like, I think Jody's probably given me more important losses in my debating career than anyone else in New Zealand debating, which is like fair enough. She's a great judge, but I suppose in that sense, it'd be really interesting to have her like be involved in my development. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, my question. How much do you help out your teammates during trials? How cynical are you about the trial process? Because the reason why I bring this up is there was someone who I ended up being in a team with who didn't help at all during trials. And I think that's wrong.
I go into trials knowing exactly who I want to be in a team with. And I've been in that situation since I was probably like third year or whatever. And I know exactly who I want to be in the team with. And I will 100% help that person to perform in trials.
So you'll strategically help people.
Oh, absolutely. No, I completely strategically help the people who I want to perform at trials and look to ensure that I can be in a team with those people.
Okay, that's fair.
So maybe that's bad, but that's what I do.
Yeah. There are definitely debaters, I think, who have benefited from trialing with me. Because I really like, I trial exactly like I debate.
Right.
I'm just like, how do we win? And then I'm like, my speech wasn't great, but we won. So, and then I'm like, fuck, I've done it again.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to be a bit more cynical about trials. What do you think about selectors being able to view preps?
That is a terrible idea.
Not before. How about after the debate happens? I think they should. I think that prep and your ability to prep well sets you apart.
Don't get me wrong. As someone who inevitably ends up writing the cases for most of my teams, yeah, I wouldn't mind selectors saying that. On the other hand, I just think it creates a really weird prep dynamic. It in no way replicates the process that turns up to a tournament if people are trying to like perform for the cameras.
That's fair.
So then you're testing the wrong skills and behavioral attributes, which I think is weird.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Okay. I asked a question.
I asked a question.
What?
I asked the one about
I'm out
trials.
of questions.
You're out of questions. I have a few more.
Oh, okay, great.
You sure you got a question?
I had 10 and I've asked 10.
Well, there's one that Umber asked me to put in, which is how much do you love Auckland Depsoc and its president? And a lot. Your answer is yes, so we can move on.
Well, I love Umber. I love the Depsoc.
I'm very close to finishing. I've got 2 more questions.
Right.
One is, what is your ideal post-tournament brunch?
Fuck, that's a good question. Fuck. It's actually like, because I'm probably exhausted at that stage. So I probably want something like, I want like eggs Benny with bacon, and then so in my view, and I think there's similar attributes here, a perfect post or hangover brunch has 3 essential components. It needs a fatty, salty kind of brunch food. Like eggs and bacon are good, but also like salmon, because it's kind of fatty fish, can do the job as well. Halloumi does the job as well. So you want fat and salt. And then you actually need 2 drinks. You can get away with it with 1, but you probably want 2, which is you want like a dairy-based drink. So ideally like a milkshake or a smoothie, but I think a milkshake is perfect. And then you want black coffee. Now, if you're really like in a rush or like, you know, for whatever reasons you can't deliver on that, it's acceptable to have, say, a milkshake with a shot of coffee that does the job, or like an iced coffee or something like that. But the 3 essential components are like fatty, salty breakfast, dairy, and coffee. And that's like the holy trinity of hangover breakfast. And I think that more or less applies to debating as well, because you tend to feel absolutely exhausted afterwards. So like, ideal, we're in Welly, go to Fidel's, and I'd get something like a Cuban sandwich with fries, a chocolate shake, and a long black.
So from what I've heard, obviously Austral starts a little bit later than it would if we were there. So it'll start probably a little bit before lunch with the way the time zones work out here. I think Umba is planning a squad brunch every single day of Austral.
Where the fuck are we gonna go?
There's so many cool places. So many good places. Obviously he's been locked down for a lot of the time he's been here. So
I'm gonna go and have a mean dinner next week.
Yeah.
My birthday next week.
Woo!
It's gonna be great.
Yeah, and I also just think the brunch that we have once Australs is finished as a whole squad together is going to be.
Can I just have some brunch reckons for a moment? I know this is a debating show. I don't get boozy brunches. I really don't get them. I know you don't drink. I just find it really weird because, like, structure your weekend properly, people. Get fucked up on Friday or Saturday and go out and have brunch. But, like, keep it chill. Don't get, like, fucked up. Like, have a coffee, have something nice to eat, relax. Maybe have a cup of tea after your coffee. Enjoy the day. But don't be like, mimosas. Like, if you've still got energy on Sunday morning, you fucked up Saturday night.
So I think that's also potentially, with my wealth of experience, where the brunch is positioned. So a post-tournament brunch, 100% agree. I don't know why people would want to drink.
Yeah.
If it's like a weekend brunch, that's the highlight. Like that is the thing. I don't know, maybe.
It shouldn't
be that.
Boo. Your opinion is bad. You should feel bad.
Yes, me to all drinkers.
Do you have one more question?
Yeah, sorry, last question. Would you prefer to win a tournament and not be in the top, I'm talking Australs and Worlds, win a tournament, not be in the top 10 speakers, or make the semi-final and be best speaker?
What? Win the fucking tournament.
For
Win the fucking tournament. Sorry, but like,
this is the most important thing to you.
I just like winning is better than anything. Like, and I literally like, what? I'm gonna like lose to some losers who couldn't perform in the break rounds. If I'm out of the top 10, but I can win a final, what that says is I can perform when it matters, not when it doesn't matter. Like, who the fuck cares if you go to 79 in round 4 when you beat some team that ultimately doesn't matter? If I'm like drilling you in the semis, who gives a shit?
Yeah. No, that's very true. I think
Yeah.
it's excellent. We roughly agree on that.
Okay.
Also,
right.
tabs are broken, right? They're a fundamentally broken
Who gives
part
a
of
shit?
our debate
Oh,
society.
you average 0.17 more speaker points per round on average. Nah, I want to fuck you up in the final.
Okay, any anonymous questions
yeah,
before we
let's
finish
have
off? Oh, I'm sorry, Canterbury, that I placed you behind Otago, but you must recognize that for the early part of my debating career, Canterbury was a bit of a ghost land, and Otago became my home. And while I still love you as a campus, especially the campus as it is today, those deep historical links are something that I can't just forget about.
Here's a question. I suppose it's both of us. I've heard that two of you were a team at Auckland IB. We were.
We were.
Which combos of current debaters would you not be confident at beating in a BP room now?
So how are we going to define this? People who have gone to an NZUD tournament in 2019 and 2020?
Yeah, I guess so.
Which combinations?
I don't know, like maybe like Ailey and someone else.
Yeah. Greg and Ailey would.
Yeah, Greg and
Push us
Ailey I'd probably like not be super confident on. I reckon we'd pump most people though, eh? Yeah, no.
That's a very good question.
Probably, I reckon I wouldn't want to debate Ailey. Probably wouldn't want to debate Grace. Grace is waving to us in the background. Dutifully doing her work.
Yeah. I can't think of anyone.
Yeah, I don't know.
Specifically, this is specifically BP, and also specifically consistent. I think there are some exceptional BP speakers that aren't.
Yeah, like
consistent.
in any given round, could Nick fuck me up on something?
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Connor as well.
But also, like, I'm pretty confident I could just like wave a red flag at Nick and be like, "Go look at that thing over there."
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck, that got real arrogant near the end, didn't it?
Probably Maddie.
Yeah.
I'd be loath to go against Maddie. Maddie and Ailey. They're world
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, I wouldn't want to see Maddie and Ailey. Yeah. Is that us? Should we leave it there? I think my pumpkin's probably better.
Any other anonymous questions?
Yeah, okay, go on, man.
We'll give the people their say.
Let's have a look. How can we solve anti-Australian bias? We don't, because they deserve it.
How do we solve anti-Australian bias? So I watched the semi-final that started. Semi-final? Yeah, semi-final that started. Your wine is very close to the edge. The semi-final that started all of that. And I think they deserved. Well, I think Belgrade deserve to go through. There's my hot take. I thought they were very good. No, I love Australia. I think you guys are incredible debaters. I've learned a lot from debating against you.
I actually agree.
So good. You have one of the best debating coaches.
I trolled a little
That's the
bit
way
to start by being like, let's not fix anti-Australian bias. But I must say, I'm not super tuned into the global debating politic. I just see what I see on Facebook. I find it really weird how like foreign circuits are weirdly anti-Australian, and it seems to just be because they're good.
They're very good.
And it just seems to be that European and British debaters
Who are less good.
who are but quite seriously, who are on the whole less good than the Australian circuit, just don't like Australian debaters. To which I say, it's like, just get over it. It's like, you're going to lose the Ashes nine times out of 10. You're going to lose the Worlds 9 times out of 10 as well. Just like accept it.
Yeah, and it's not like, oh well, actually no, you do import a fair amount of your good debaters from Australia anyway.
And such, I even like the English cricket team. They're like, when they won the Ashes a few years ago, it was fantastic. But this fucking bullshit on the European circuit, Australians aren't even that good. They are fucking good. Yeah, they are fucking good. Anyway, should we leave it there?
Yes, I think we leave it there. Thank you very much. Apologies once again for Grace's absence. She will be back. We might do this again. We'll see.